Welcome back to How Would You Write It? The podcast where you get a chance to delve into the minds of the storytellers who are, shaping the stories of today. I am Tay, your host, and I'm so excited that we get a chance to dive into the story that grabs your attention before you even get to page 5 of the script. My guest today is Jay Fingers, a Los Angeles-based screenwriter, novelist, editor, and journalist whose work blends wit, menace, heart, and cultural texture. And today we're talking about his latest feature script, Azalea, a darkly funny, emotionally layered family thriller that digs into love, legacy, manipulation, and the complicated bond between a son and his mother. Okay, this is a good script. I'm so excited about this one. It's Memphis Grit meets, and I hope this goes across right, is Memphis Grit meets Brooklyn Ambition with a whole lot of truth in between. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let's get into it. The mind, the craft, and the storytelling behind Azalea with the one and only Jay Fingers. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, Tay. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. So thank you very much.
You have been on the list since I believe January of this year. I'm just now getting to you, and I was just like, "Oh Lord, I waited too long. I should have hit you up in January." But I am so very, very, very thankful that when I did hit you up, you were like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'd love to. I would love to come on. How would you write it?"
Oh,
So I
yeah,
appreciate you
absolutely.
so much. This story, Azalea reads like a dark, funny, emotionally charged, like I said, family thriller about a Brooklyn journalist returning to Memphis to protect his mother from
Mhm.
a manipulative family friend. And listen, I know some people have some stories about that when your parents get elderly and people start trying to take advantage of them and you have to
Mhm.
step in,
Mhm.
and they don't listen to you. Okay. They don't listen
Right.
to you. They don't want to listen to you because they know better than you. Who you telling who can live and what they can do with their money and their time and their household? Okay.
Exactly. Right, right.
It's full of biting humor, generational pain, and Southern Gothic realism. And so, Jay, my first question is to you is you call your work blending with Black characters at the center. In Azalea, that blend hits hard. Dark family drama, humor, thriller, energy. What emotion were you trying to weaponize first? Fear, guilt, or love?
That's a very, very interesting question. I think that, of the three that you mentioned, I honestly think that fear is the main one. Azalea was born out of my fear of, this happening, to my mother, or for it to happen to my sisters. I'm the
Mhm.
youngest of four. And so, it's just like, yeah, I'm the one that left. And I was always, mindful of just like, my family is back home. What if I'm not there to protect them? What
Yes.
if someone is able to slither in? So I would definitely say fear,
Hmm.
you know, um, but also love.
Yeah.
I wanted to communicate, the bond, between the son and the mother. I wanted to show that he did care for his mother, that he does care for his mother, and that he's willing to move heaven and earth to protect her.
Hmm. And
So,
I think that came across in the script, but the manipulation that the mother was going through with the family friend and how he's basically manipulating everything around him.
mm,
But okay. Um, you majored in motion pictures at the University of Miami.
correct.
Was Azalea born out of the film influence or personal experience? Like, when did you get influenced? When did the first thought of Azalea pop up in your mind to do?
It was when I was living in New York. I lived in New York for a very long time before moving to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just always looking, making sure that my mother was okay back home and everything. Whenever someone new would pop up, I'm just like, how do you know this person? How close are you? Who are they? And there was an individual who got a little too close for comfort, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep my eye on them. And so that's what this was born out of. It's just like that situation.
So
It's just like,
real life experience kind of made
right, right,
this,
right.
yeah,
You
of
know,
being the
and
beautiful son that you are. You're like, and then seeing someone that you're just kind of going like, yeah. So
exactly
okay, real life experience. I love that. Do you see yourself more of a storyteller for the screen or the page?
for the
Are you
screen.
building a world that moves between both?
Well, so I absolutely see myself, like I'm a visual storyteller, film has always been my passion. And so I've always written for the screen, even when I've delved into like writing, fiction, when I've written novels.
Mhm.
And, that was something that came from my father. He's just like, look, I know the dream is to write movies. Perhaps you should write the book and then when someone picks it up, you can be the one to adapt it, and that will lead to your screenwriting career. And I never took his advice. I
Ah, because you know now how they want you to start with IP first.
right, well, right, right, right,
Oh, your dad gave you
that's
some good
always a
advice.
selling point. That's always whenever I deal with anyone, I tell them, hey, I come with IP.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I find myself, I feel that I'm more of, a visual person. I am a screenwriter writing for, writing movies. But to your point, to what you said, my novels do influence my screenplays. And there is a lot of like, back and forth characters that I've written about in novels. I may introduce or mention, whatever in my screenplays and vice versa. As a matter of fact, the script that I'm working on now is actually born out of a character that was introduced in my first novel. So yeah, I like to move back and forth between those worlds, but I'm first and foremost a writer of movies.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to read the next one. I'll have you come back on and talk about the next one. So, okay. Azalea opens with a quote about the devil coming as everything you wish for.
Mhm.
What temptation or truth does that line set up for the story?
It sets up the villain, the antagonist character, Larry Fowl.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the mother character, she's very into Larry Fowl. She thinks that he's everything that
A
she
bag of
wants,
chips.
right? And I think that she thinks of Larry as a companion, right? Um, as a friend,
Mm-hmm.
but
Can't do
also
anything wrong. Yeah.
as a son. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He can't do anything wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that, a lot of mothers feel that way about their children, especially their sons. I really
Especially
do
their
feel that,
boys. Yeah.
mothers and sons, that relationship. So their sons can do no wrong. And when Larry takes that position, she feels that, he's fulfilling every wish, every need, every desire. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I included that quote, because I just thought it was perfect.
Talking about Larry and his character, he's chilling because he's just ordinary. You know, his character is kind of chilling because he's just ordinary. He's kind of out of the blue. You wouldn't think, you wouldn't suspect this character of doing anything that he does. He's not a monster, but he's very manipulative. He's lazy and he's familiar. Like,
Mhm.
who and what inspired him for you?
Oh, he's a combination of a lot of people, a lot of, a lot of men that, I've either known or heard about over the years. As I mentioned, looking at people who have tried to, get close to my mother, boyfriends of my sisters and cousins, or friends, and just even, just some guys that I've known, some guys that I've met.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like, a combination of all of those, those influences, came to create Larry. And like you said, he's not a monster per se. He's an
Ordinary
ordinary
dude.
guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, and I think that that is what makes him a more compelling villain, is that he could be your buddy that's sitting next to you at the bar, or, the guy that you see walking around the neighborhood. He's just a regular guy.
just a regular guy. Now, the script tension isn't supernatural, it's emotional. Or that's how I felt it was. I felt it was more of emotional than supernatural. How did you build horror from family dynamics instead of, ghosts and gore? Like, was that your intention, like, of how this came across? Because
Well, I definitely wanted to build that tension.
Hmm.
And the thing about Azalea is that, it was a new kind of experience for me because most of the stuff that I write tends to lean into comedy, tends to lean, more into genre.
Hmm.
And this was an exercise of, more straight drama.
Hmm.
And how can I ratchet up the tension? How can I, ratchet up the horror, as you say? And it's just basically looking at who's in the scene, what the scene entails, and what do they want from each other, right? And if you can, I feel like if you can really get to the heart of the conflict, of the scene, then you can build, that on that tension.
Hmm.
And
You
I
did that
guess it
well.
worked. I mean, that's,
You did that very well. I love that because as new writers, new people coming to the craft of writing screenplays is by scene, and that was a very good breakdown of how you look at it. Like, what do the characters in the page in that scene? What do they want from each other? And that's a beautiful way of, if you were going to teach screenwriting, that's how I would explain how you should break down each scene. Like, what are the characters getting out of it in that
Mhm.
moment? I love that. Anyway, all right, okay, okay. There's a raw mother-son bond between King and Elaine. Funny, painful, and deeply human. How much of that relationship came from lived truth versus pure fiction?
I would say 100%. Their relationship is 100%, based on the relationship, that I have with my mother. And again, observation. I've got older sisters, and I have nephews, and just also the relationships that my sisters have with their sons. Just watching that, and it's funny because we're all different. My relationship with my mom is different from
Yeah.
say my sister, relationship with her son. Um, so even though that love is there, that bond is there, the way we interact with each other and the way we show that love is different. And so drawing inspirations from them, but definitely, yeah, yeah, yeah. My relationship with
I loved it because it felt anchored in realness. Like, I felt like, that dynamic, the relationship is something that I know. Like, I was like, I know this relationship. I've seen this relationship. I've, grew up around this type of relationship. So I totally felt that realness of this. And that's why I feel like this is something that we need to see on screen more of. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something that I feel like we really truly haven't seen on
Mhm.
screen. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of any show or movie that worked around a mother and son dynamic where the son is trying to come in and save and the mother is just kind of blind to something that's going on, but there's that love and it's still that, mother authoritative, like, hey, kind of thing going on. And I just feel like this is something that as families, no matter where we came from and which cultural background we come from, you will see yourself in that.
Right.
So I love that about the script. Now, the Memphis setting feels like a character. Now, I've never been to Memphis, but it did feel like a character in this. The heat, the church, and neighborhood gossip. How deliberate was grounding in a Southern authenticity. Oh God, I can't say the word. Instead of Hollywood gloss. You got what I was saying.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I couldn't get it out. What I was calling. Excuse me, audience.
Um, I would, very important, very important. I love Memphis. It's funny to say that now because when I was young, I could not wait to get away. I could not wait to like bounce and go off to college
Mhm,
and live my best life.
mhm.
But over the years, I've come to appreciate, the city, for what it is, and my upbringing there, and just the cultural richness of
Love it.
Memphis.
Mhm.
And I don't think that it's been shown on screen, at least like not the big screen, um, too much. Like the only movie that I can think of that is like, and when I say Memphis, I'm really like talking about like Black Memphis.
Mhm.
Memphis is a very Black city,
Mhm.
and I don't think that it's really been shown on screen except for one movie, which is Hustle and Flow.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Hustle was Tennessee. Okay, Memphis.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's based in Memphis, and I loved, I love the portrayal of the city and its people in Hustle and Flow. And so I always said that in revisiting Memphis in my own work, I
Mhm.
wanted to bring a similar authenticity, show the cultural richness, show authentic people, of Memphis, and pay homage to them. So yeah, it's very important to me.
I love that. Your dialogue feels effortless. I mean, chef's kiss, natural but cinematic. How did you balance realism with rhythm when writing scenes like those family showdowns?
Dialogue just comes easy to me. I really don't have it just comes easy to me. When I sit down and I launch Final Draft and I get to writing,
Hmm.
it just flows. It goes back to the conflict. I know what the characters want from each other and they're battling, and so I just let them go at it. Um, I definitely pick up bits and pieces of dialogue. I listen to people, wherever I go, whether I'm in Memphis or whether I'm back in Brooklyn or here in LA, wherever, I pick up on the rhythms and the sayings and, the lingo, right? And I just keep that with me. So I know, okay, I'm writing a Memphis scene. This is how people in Memphis would speak. This is what they would say. This is how they would interrupt each other. This is, if I'm writing a scene in Brooklyn, I absolutely know this is how folks in Brooklyn would speak. This is what they would say, blah blah blah. So it's just, yeah, I pick it up, I internalize it, and when it comes time to write, it just comes out.
I love that because one thing for us as storytellers is the people watching around us all the time. Like we're
Oh yeah.
always watching and listening to other people to get that rhythm, to get
Mhm.
that dialogue, to get that dialect, to get everything when we're out and about. And it's sometimes you looking, you paying attention to somebody's conversation. They're like, "You're nosy." And I'm like, "I want to say I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I'm studying. I'm just studying you. So you may that what you just said may end up in the script or a book one day. It's okay. It's okay."
Say, let me tell you how often I tell people all the time, like if I overhear something, I will straight up tell them like, look, I don't mean to ear hustle, but I heard what you said, and I'm gonna steal that.
I have a notes. I put it in my notes on my phone. I'm like, I'm gonna write this down real quick. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna use this one day. That's one part of storytelling um that I love doing. It's like getting out there and trying to being in the world of per se of getting to know and hear, because you can bring that back into your stories and bring characters to life that is just bits and pieces of who you've met, who you've overheard, who you've watched. And as
Mhm.
stalkerish as that sounds, but I love that part of being a storyteller, is that part of just bringing that character to life from something that inspired you, or what you heard, or who you saw, or what you saw in the moment, and it just comes back into the fullness of your storytelling, of your gift, that you have. I love that. I love that. um okay, structurally, Azalea reads like a slow burn, intimate then explosive. Do you plot meticulously or let characters lead the chaos?
Oh, I plot.
Oh, you
I
plot.
am very much a plotter. Yeah, yeah. I didn't always used to be a plotter. I used to be a pantser.
Uh-huh.
I would just sit down, just let's go. As long as I know where the story should end up, we'll see where it takes us. But over the years, I've really come to love like plotting, love outlining. Just making sure. Again, as long as I know the major beats,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's deliberate. I wanted that slow build
Mm-hmm.
to there's certain moments that are very emotionally charged. And so it's just like, yes, I wanted to build to those moments. Bam, you get hit. And then we build to the next moment. Bam, you get
And you
hit. Like
get
that's
hit.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I love that. And I wish this was on screen so people would get and see what we're talking about, because I've read this script and I just uh, okay. What's your rewrite ritual? Are you more surgical? Or are you more burn it all and start again type?
Um, I'm not the burn it all and start. I've definitely heard of writers who will, yeah, just absolutely, okay, I finished the first draft and they throw everything out
Mhm.
and they just start
Not
from page
again.
one. I've heard of people that, try to write, I can't do that. No, 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 no. So I do have, that first draft there. I make my notes, the notes that I've gotten from feedback, I go through whatever I feel works. That's what I keep. And yeah, I guess I am just more surgical. It's just like we're going to fix this, let's get into this. All right, this works, so I don't have to touch it or I don't have to do that much. Let's go to the next part. So that's how I work, with rewrites. And the thing is, I don't spend too much time on rewrites,
Hmm.
um, unless someone is like, okay, we're interested, we want to develop this, let's give it another, rewrite, another
Yeah,
polish,
another
whatever.
round. Yeah.
Right, right, right. It's like for me personally, the most I might rewrite a script is 3 times. And
Hmm.
then if there's no movement on it or whatever, then that's the script for the time being. And, I'll put it to the side. But
I love that because I too, I base my rewrites off of feedback, and
mhm.
because I'm like I can't start. It's just something about they be like, oh, just start it all over again. Like when I was a ghostwriter, yeah, I can do that for you. I can restart it all from scratch. But if
Mhm.
it's mine, I'm like, I go by feedback. Like if someone's brought up something in the story, and I'm gonna look at it again, take it in and look at it again and say, is that true? And is that where I'm missing it's something I'm missing in the story? Is that something true I can take in, or is it they're not getting what I was going for in this scene? Because you as a writer, that's still your baby. You know how to raise your baby. So, as getting feedback is a precious thing for someone to take time to give you feedback. So you
Oh
you
yeah.
should take the time to consider what they gave you as feedback on, and try your best to find a team of people who truly are honestly they want to see you succeed, and it could be critical feedback, and it's coming from they want you to succeed,
Right.
and from their writing or their talent that there's someone that you should also go and take their advice. That doesn't
Right,
mean
right,
that
right.
you're going to take everything that they said, but take consideration of, one, they read it for you and gave you feedback. Two, they may know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
Three, that's your baby. You may not have to raise it the way they told you to raise it. You can still go, I'm not, this note right here, I don't think they got what I'm saying. I can leave it there. But
Mhm.
feedback is so important, to anyone who's coming into this career. And we're not saying that you can't throw the whole draft away and restart. We're not saying that. We're just saying we're the feedback writers.
Right.
Thing. We're the feedback rewriters. We're not the writers who's going to be like, I'm going to start from scratch.
Right.
No, no. Okay. Just a couple more questions, Jay. Just a couple more questions.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Um, how do you write Black Southern characters without reducing them to tropes? Because you did such a great job here. Like, it's so hard sometimes to get into because I'm a Southern girl myself. I'm from Georgia.
Mhm.
So, it's so hard sometimes not to get into that. You want to, as a Black writer, you want to show the authentic side of being Southern, but you
Mhm.
also don't want to go over that line of making a character that can be used as kind of a lightning round, a lightning uh, spit or whatever on them to go, oh, they all act like that,
Right. Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. No, exactly. Again, it goes back to observation, and just being truthful, being authentic, uh, and also giving nuance to the characters. Like you said, a lot of times, especially when it comes to Black Southern characters, they're reduced to stereotypes, they're reduced to tropes. I feel like that's just because that's what people are used to.
Mm-hmm.
People who've never really lived in that world, they've never lived in the South. They've never lived around Black people in the South. Um, We have to stop because someone's knocking at my door.
Okay.
All right, give me 1 second.
Okay. All right. So you've been a journalist, a novelist, and an editor, all roles that demand different storytelling muscles. Which one sharpened you the most for screenwriting?
I would say editing.
Ooh.
Editing because I'm working with other people's work. I'm reading, what they've written, and so I'm seeing what works. I'm reading things from different perspectives, and look, you're influenced by everything. So even though as an editor, I'm the one that's correcting mistakes or, shaping the story, this is how the structure should be, what have you, I'm still learning from you know, what I'm essentially like fixing or working on. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would say editing. Editing has definitely been the most kind of like impactful on my own work.
And I can see that being as a rewrite, you wouldn't need to go back that many times because you're editor. You've already edited yourself as you were going along. I wish I had that mindset as an editor. I really did. I feel like that's one of my weaknesses. I really do.
Really.
Yeah,
But it's difficult to edit your own stuff, and
it
that's the
is.
thing. Like that this is why like I give, my scripts or my manuscripts to other people, to other writers or just, to get that feedback to see where have I gone wrong because I'm not perfect. No one's perfect.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's very difficult to edit your own work, but
yeah,
when you're looking at somebody else's stuff, it's everything is obvious. So we've got this, issue or we can strengthen this. It's the funniest thing.
yeah. I know for me, when I'm doing feedback, I'm like, I'm not an editor. What I give to you as feedback, it's the story, it's the feeling. Like and that's how I'm reading your script as if I'm in a theater and how I'm feeling for each scene, what the character brought across to me, what the story brought across to me. I said, that's the feedback I give. Now, if you want to editor feedback, want to go look for somebody with that talent. I'm talking about how I walked away from the feeling of the script. So and how it made me feel and the questions I walked away with in my head of the characters of the plot are when can I see it? Like because like this one, I'm just like, when we don't get this on screen? That's where I come from. Having a literary manager background yourself, what advice do you give new writers trying to sell their first script or get representation?
Ooh, so uh I would strongly encourage any writer seeking representation, make sure that the manager or potential manager, potential representative is a good fit. Don't just go with someone because they immediately say, yes, I'll rep you. Make sure that they are a good fit. Make sure that they understand who you are, what you're doing, what you're writing, and that they will champion you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, my my former manager, uh, I feel did not get me. And that really didn't become apparent until like much later in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
which is why the relationship deteriorated. The professional relationship, like cool guy, like whatever, if I see him, I'll still like, give him a pound or like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But, professionally, I don't think that, he got me, he got my stories. And I think that that is what kind of is why like he lost enthusiasm for working with me ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Just questions that he would ask, feedback that he would give on scripts. And I would tell him, well, a character, would do this or would say this in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I don't understand why. And it's it's something that I call like, like cultural competence, where it's just like, you know, I'm just gonna say it like this. Sometimes black people will react in a certain situation a certain way.
In a certain way.
And
Like,
that's just what it
if
is.
it's something funny and we're in a group of people, people may run away as we're laughing. Some people don't
Hmm.
get it, but like, what's happening? Why is everybody
Well,
running
why is
away?
everyone running? Yeah,
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 yeah, that's a
you know.
cultural thing
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
someone may not see, someone who's not of us may not see. I had one person, this is feedback, this wasn't a manager, um, uh, say to me, one of my first scripts is about a black female vigilante, and she, um, the first draft was she had a street fight.
Hmm.
And I had a feed someone come back and say, "What's a street fight? What is?" I was like, I thought it was like what street and fight.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory.
And then I thought, well, maybe is that cultural? Because I think that's what they thought, it was a cultural thing, and it wasn't. I was like, it's self-evident in the street. They fighting in the street.
Yeah.
So it's one of those feedbacks where you could not respond back to the person who gave you the feedback. So I couldn't go back, but for months I was like, how did they not? And it made me take that scene out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it made me take that scene out because I was like, well, she didn't get it. Maybe other people who are not black didn't get it either. So I
Right,
ended
right,
up taking the
right.
that fight out of it because I was just like, I don't want anyone to be so confused if she didn't get it. And then the scene is a fight in the street. I don't I don't know. So I ended up taking that scene out, and I was like, if it ever gets picked up or whatever for a series, I will probably throw it back in there somewhere
Try to
in
fit it
the
back
future.
in.
But at the
Hmm.
time, that was it was one of my first ever scripts, and I was like, oh, culturally, they didn't get me on
Right,
this, so it made
right.
me strip that scene. I don't know if in the future of me being a more having more experience as a writer, would I do that today? I don't think I would. I would probably just, you ain't get it. That's fine. You didn't get that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as a new novice screenwriter, it made me nervous
Hmm.
that as a black writer writing about a black female character who is this, fighter, and a white reader didn't get it. And
Hmm.
so I was like, I was more concerned about that than holding true to what the story was. And I regret that to this day.
Got
But
you. Yeah.
and I'm saying this for anyone new who's new to writing from your culture. Uh, if someone of a different culture doesn't get it, take take several 15 million breaths before you decide to take something out of your script or your story or your comic book or whatever to make them feel comfortable. The whole point to me is being a screenwriter or writer or creator in any form or fashion is exposing others to your world and where you
Hmm.
came from. So that's my suggestion for anyone who's a creator in this world. If someone doesn't understand it, that's their
Yeah, yeah,
issue.
yeah.
And hopefully at some point they'll catch up with you. They'll catch up with you. But while we're talking about culture, what do you think about Black storytellers um, are still fighting for in Hollywood today? Oh, I know we
Opportunity.
can go long-winded in this one.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I would say that just the biggest thing is opportunity. I moved to LA in 2018.
Mhm.
And right as I was coming out here, that's when there seemed to be like this kind of like this boom of like black creators, and not just black creators, but just underrepresented, diverse creators in general, right? But I'm thinking, like Moonlight had just won Best Picture and Get Out was a sensation. So it seemed like
There are
everyone
doors
was
opening.
opening, yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, black storytellers and
Yeah.
and women, storytellers and
Mhm.
queer storytellers
Mhm.
and like the doors seem to be opening and there seemed to be like just like this welcoming reception
Mhm.
to just original voices, underrepresented voices, and so I was super excited in coming out here and things seem to be moving, relatively well. And then, and this is the horror story for all of us, the pandemic hit,
Yes.
and that was just, I feel, the beginning of the slowdown. You see where we are now.
Yeah.
And a lot of those doors that were open, or at least seemed like they were open, are now closed.
Yeah.
Or at least, it's just like, and it doesn't seem like, those opportunities are being extended. And so
Yeah.
I think that's what, like, that's the biggest challenge is just opportunity, you
Yeah.
know, especially for black creators, Uh, give black creators a chance, give black voices a chance.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's great that we have like Ryan Coogler and Issa Rae, and Tyler Perry, but they can't open doors for everyone.
Everybody. Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's just like, I appreciate what they're doing. I love what they're doing, but I can't expect them to, open the doors for everyone. I can't expect them to reach back to everyone. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
So
Yeah.
other so-called gatekeepers and people in those positions, they need to be a little more open-minded and a little more amenable to.
And it's crazy because to me, they see the money that comes in from Black stories. Like we're gonna go out and see our stuff. Like
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna spend that money and see our stuff. If it's promoted, some stuff is just not. We real. It was a movie that came out, and I forgot what it was. A Woman in the Yard.
Oh yeah, Woman in the Yard.
I
Yep.
didn't know
Mhm.
anything about it. I
Wow.
didn't know anything about Woman in the Yard. I would have went to see that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? There's a
Mhm.
horror. I love horror. I'm a sci-fi girly at
Okay.
heart. But I love action. I love horror. I love all these things. I love thrillers. I'm not good
Mhm.
at romance, but I love all those things. So
Mhm.
I didn't know that movie came out. And my feelings, I was hurt that I didn't get a chance to go and support that movie,
Mhm.
that's unique storytelling for us. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Here's a horror movie and it's us. And
Mhm.
I didn't get a chance to see it because I don't think they promoted it as well as they could have promoted it to us in our community.
Right, right, right. There was, oh gosh, I can't remember. I was watching something. It was like a podcast, but there was someone who spoke on that. It's just like they don't know what to do with our stories. They don't know how to make them. They don't know how to market them.
They don't.
They're just apparently clueless and so shocked. As you said, like we will go out to support, and they're always shocked when, even with like the lack of promotion or like whatever, our movies tend to overperform. That's what they like to say, overperform.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, no, we're coming out to support. It's just like you're not giving us all the resources you would give, say, this filmmaker. So the cost is lower over here, but we're still coming out in high numbers to
Mm-hmm.
support, which is why, we're overperforming.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just always the surprise. Oh my goodness,
And I'm just
Tim,
like,
it's
there
so
you
loud.
are. You're looking for your money to come.
Right.
You're like, I'm looking for money to come back on this film that I could spend all this money on. And if you just promote it and hire the right people for it.
Right. Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
if you go to the marketing team for all the Marvel films, hire them. They promote this. Go out and promote this film. Come on. I mean, find ways. Like, how do you get? What do you call those people? They come in and they do like you get a group of people in a room and they watch something and they tell you yay that
Oh,
yay
like a focus group?
a focus group. Come on, man, work with us. Work with us. Like again, you get your money back if you invest properly into Black creativity. You get your
Hmm.
money back.
Hmm.
But it's again like you said, they don't know how to do it and then they're scared to do it. And right now, and I'm not just even speaking on Black creativity, great Black creators, it seems like in all right now in Hollywood that they just want to keep promoting the same stuff that worked before,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so they know that they can possibly get money again. And I've said this before in the podcast, I promise you, if I see one more Little Women, I'm gonna pull my hair out. I do not want to ever see Little Women made again. They have made 15 versions of Little Women. I think I've seen all of them, and we don't need to see it again. That's just I don't. Batman. I love Batman. That's my favorite comic book. character, but I promise you, I don't need to see how his mom and dad died every time you make the movie. We
Right.
all know how Bruce's mom and dad died. And if
Hmm.
you just don't waste my time with 12 minutes of how they died. I don't need to see that, or do a flash forward in the middle of the movie or something. I don't need to see it again.
Right.
I was like, why do we keep every time you got to show us how his mom and dad died? I'm just like, we know, we know, we know how they died, and I just don't feel like it. Just those are my two pet peeves with Hollywood right now. Is that
Mhm.
they're constantly doing remakes because they want to stay safe and secure. But then you're doing remakes and nobody wants to see it. And I'm not saying anything bad about Tron, but I think again, Tron was one of the ones they just brought out recently, and I don't think it did it very well in the theater. And I don't
Yeah.
think it had anything to do with the actors, even though I've heard stuff. But I don't think it had anything to do with them. I think people are tired of remakes. Like, give them something new, and you
Hmm.
have all this talent. And the Guardians at the Gate, you keep using the same writers over and over. I'm telling you right now, Jay, I can write my behind off on a Justice League movie. Give me the script for Justice League, and I will have Granny Goodness beating everybody's behind. Okay, right? I will write a
That's a Justice League movie I want to see.
I know. I say, Granny Goodness is sitting right there with the Fury Fairies. Like, what are we doing? What are we
Mhm.
doing? Like, come on. Like, I would I would have to have Jack Black play Granny Goodness, like, because he
Wow.
would tear Granny Goodness down, like, for real, for real. Now, talking about casting characters, we're going back to Azalea. If Azalea was adapted tomorrow, who would
Mhm.
you dream cast as King and Elaine?
Hmm. So, oh my goodness, there's a young black actor that I saw, and I can't even think of his last name. His first name is Michael. Um, Gee, what did I see him in? And I remember his name is Michael because the spelling of Michael's unique. He switched the E and the A in his name. Gosh, I can't think of his name. But I think he would be perfect. But if I had to,
Remember what he played in?
I'm trying to, I can't think. I don't know. It's evading me. Oh, it's evading me. I can't remember. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Um,
Uncle Evans? Bellini?
I don't think it's Evans.
Is he light skinned?
No, he's dark skinned.
Oh, then that
He's a
ain't
dark
him.
skinned brother.
Never mind.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no, not Michael Ealy. No, oh no,
No,
not Michael
Michael
Ealy.
Evans
Oh,
Behaling. He's
mm,
29.
I found his name is Michael Ward.
Ward?
Yes. So it's Micheood
Ah, I've
Ward.
seen him too. What did I see him in? Uh, he's a Jamaican born British actor and former model. Ah, known in Empire of Light 2022. Who would you have for Elaine?
For Elaine, this is I think a bit of an inspired choice. Latanya Richardson, I think would do a great job.
Oh, okay. I can see that. I
Like
can see that.
she's kind of who I pictured as Elaine.
Now I see you have Nia DaCosta on your shirt. So who would you want to direct?
Why why I think that Nia could handle this
I think
material.
she could too. I love Nia. She's one of my dream directors. I will always would love to. Oh, I love to work with Nia DaCosta.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, she's so
She's
talented.
amazing. Yeah.
Mm. Well, for that, Jay, thank you so much for coming on to How Would You Write It? And feel free to come back at any time to talk about your work. I would love to delve more into your brain about anything that you have going on because your writing is just that superb. And I am so excited of where you're going, where doors are opening for you because they will open and they are opening for you now. And I'm just very proud to have known and been able to read Azalea. It's just that good. And excited about seeing it come to life. And so I pray that our talking over it manifests to come to reality. So I'm gonna ask you just a couple more questions and I'm gonna let you go.
No, yeah, sure, sure. I am here for you, Tay. Whatever you
I'm
want to
so happy and thank you again for coming on. What else do you have in the works that you can tell us about?
know. So I'm actually concurrently working on two screenplays. One of them I mentioned, which is born out of a character that featured in my first novel guest list, featured a character who's a rapper
Mhm,
named Filthy Luca,
mhm,
and he is the main character of self-titled screenplay, Filthy Luca. And it's really about, he loses a high-profile rap battle, and he goes on kind of like a soul-searching mission with his buddies.
mhm.
Just thought, it's just like, wow, I've got this great character who would kind of fit into, this story. So, I plucked him out of the book, and now he's in a screenplay. And I'm working on another screenplay, funnily enough, which is about the struggles of Black creators in Hollywood. That one's untitled for now, but I'm working on that. I've got a little twist that I'm not going to reveal, because I don't want people to think, oh, it's just about having problems, with the industry breaking in. There's a little twist to it,
Mhm.
and I think that twist is what's going to set it apart. So I'm working on those two scripts right now. And I'm actually preparing to create a couple of film projects. A short film project, which I'm looking to shoot toward the end of the month,
Okay.
and I'm trying to pull together some resources to shoot like a very very tiny micro budget feature
Mhm.
at the start of next year.
I'm
So
excited about that.
yeah, so
Okay.
I'm very excited about those projects, and it's just I just want to create.
Yes.
I just want to create and can't always wait on other people
To
on
open the door. Sometimes you got to build that table.
you have to, yeah,
The
so
table. And as you know, Kevin Costner said, they will come. Build
yeah.
it and they will come.
They
I
will.
am so excited about your projects, about your writing, about you directing, about you producing, about it all. Because I know these are stories that we in the world, everyone in the world should see and to know and to learn and to grow from. So again, I appreciate you coming on. How would you write it? I do have one last question that every guest on my show, on the podcast, has to answer before
Okay.
they leave. If you own the very last blockbuster video store, and I'm sorry, youngins, if you don't know what blockbuster is, go Google it. Okay. Um, what are the two IP videos that you have behind the counter that you just so excited to tell a customer you got to watch these two?
Wow. Okay. So I've got a couple, and they may sound kind of out there, but I want you to hear me out on them. Okay.
Okay.
The first one I'm gonna say is Police Academy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 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 I used to
Now,
love watching Police Academy.
oh yeah, Police. Look, I was raised on Police Academy.
Now, why don't we remake that one? Nah, that's just such a classic. I wouldn't want them to remake that because they had the perfect characters, the perfect actors for each and every part.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm a huge fan of 80s cinema, and I just I love comedies. Police
Mhm.
Academy to me is just like the perfect kind of comedy franchise. There are seven films
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, every character is perfectly cast. The movies are full of just kind of like silly kind of like set pieces, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of like and jokes that are memorable. There are still jokes that we laugh about to this day.
Mm-hmm.
If you play like that theme song from the Oyster Bar, like everyone
Mm-hmm.
knows what that
Everybody
is.
knows that one. Yeah.
Everyone knows, don't move, dirtbag.
Don't
You know,
move.
so it's just like Police Academy, I think is just like a classic example of the sort of 80s comedy, like the sort of comedy they don't make anymore,
They don't. Yeah.
you know. So that'd have to be behind the counter, so that folks that have never experienced that could check that out.
Mm.
The second IP that I would say is Ghostbusters.
Yes.
And the reason I choose
The
Ghostbusters,
original one, the first one.
well, here's the thing, because I mean, are we talking about the entire franchise now? Because the original Ghostbusters is a classic, hands down.
I know the original. Which one Bobby Brown was in?
That's two. That's the second one.
Okay, the first one too.
Okay.
The first
But
two.
see, that's why I said Ghostbusters because it does go beyond like
It
the 80s
does.
and it comes into present day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they did it right.
They did.
Like the first one is a classic. The second one I like a lot,
Mm-hmm.
But then, they made the jump into kind of like present day. The
Yes.
one with like the
The
all the women,
kids.
the one with the kid, yeah, they restarted the franchise now with the kids, which really picks up
Mm-hmm.
from the original
Mm-hmm.
films. And I think that that's the right way to do it.
They
It's
did.
like you pay homage to the classic, to what came before, but you start to forge your own path. And so that's why I would choose that one because for me that's a franchise that endures. It's classic. It started in the 80s, but it moved to present day
Yes.
and it's still relevant and still enjoyable today.
I
So
think
so that's why I choose those two.
those are excellent choices. If you were to today hand someone say, "Hey, you need to watch this because this will one have you laughing, but also bring you into present day where you can continue on in generation by generation. They can keep going with this series if they wanted to. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. Now, Jay, where can anyone find you if they're looking for you?
I'm all over social media. If we're talking Twitter, because I refuse to call it X, Twitter,
Mhm.
Instagram, Threads, you can find me at JFigures.
Okay.
YouTube as well. Yeah, plug in JFigures to YouTube and I'll pop up. So
Love it. I
yeah,
love it. But again, Jay, thank you so much for coming on. How would you write it? You are welcome back anytime.
say I
Um,
I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me. This has been amazing. I've had a blast talking with you. So thank you. I appreciate this.
and I'm so very grateful again for you coming, and it makes it warms me that you enjoyed your time here too, because I always want anyone who comes on a podcast to feel like you came just to talk to a friend
Yeah,
about
yeah.
your stuff. So I appreciate that. With that being said, um, I just want to talk to anyone today who doesn't feel like the doors are opening or is lonely writing and creating or being behind a keyboard or a canvas or doing whatever you do to create. The world is crazy right now, but the gift that you have isn't.
Mhm.
You have that gift for a reason. Even if you allow one person to read it and it changed them or inspired them or made them feel feelings, no matter what the feelings were that you gave them. You did something good. Your gift is needed in this world. Don't give up hope. Keep writing, keep creating, keep being and using that gift that you have because the world needs it and the world needs you. And with that being said, we'll see you next time on How Would You Write?